Good morning, friends. My name is Soham, and you are watching Anime Tasker. So, friends, in this video, I am going to teach you that how you can use Google Forms. So, friends, Google Forms is a web application developed by Google. It allows you to create free online surveys and forms. So, let us begin. So friends, to first of all access Google Forms, you must have a Gmail ID, and after that you have to open your web browser. It can be anything like Mozilla Firefox or Internet Explorer or anything. Then you have to go into the search bar and type in Google Forms. The first link which arrives, which is this one, you have to click on the first link which arrives. After when you click on the first link, it will open a screen like this. Then you have to click on this blue button which says go to Google Forms. You click on this and it will open you the home screen of the Google Forms. So friends, if you have already created some forms, they will appear here in the tab between in below the tab called recent forms, and there are also quite a few templates where you can straight away send the form to your participants. But if you want to start from scratch, you have to click on this blank icon, which is a plus sign. When you click on this, a brand new Google form will open. Default Google Forms look like this. So let us now begin customizing our Google form. So the first step is you can write a custom title or and a description. So let us write in the title sample form, and this is the title of the form, and below the title there is a tab called form description. This is the description of your form, like what your form is about, the topic of your form. So here you can write anything. This is a sample form. So now we have made the title and the description. Now let us start making the questions. When you make a form, a question would defaultly appear here. You click on this question and the blue area will come. You press backspace and you type in your question. So let us say this is my first question. So we have typed in this is my first question. Now let us begin adding options. So you can add as many options as you like. So let me say the first option is, and the second one is option 2, the third one is 3, and so on. You can add as many options as you like. Now let us say that your participant doesn't meet any of the above options and he wants to type his or her response in the form. So what you have to do is, to for that thing you have to click on this blue button which is add other. This would add another option is the title other. Here the participant would be able to type the response. So you can add as many options as you like, and for deleting a response you have to hover your mouse above the option and you have to click on this cross icon. Doing so the response would be removed. Now if you have to reorder your options, the order of your options, you can click on these 6 dots and you can easily move your option and place it wherever you want. Now let us say you have to add a question in you have to add an image in the form of in the place of the question, or both of them. You can add an image also in the question. So to add an image in the question, you have to click on this gallery icon. After that, it will ask you that how do you want to insert the image. You can either upload from your computer's files, you can take a photo on the spot by using the camera option. if you have the URL, you can directly paste the URL here and the photo will appear. If you have Google Photos, you can use that, and if you have the image in the Google Drive, you can choose from there also. And there is one more option, which is the Google image search, and you can search for the image here and it would appear. So that was how you add an image in the question. Now let us say you have to add an image in the option. So to do that, you hover your mouse to the option in which you have to add the image. You click on this gallery icon and it will ask you the same things which it did while asking you to place the image in the question. You can add one photo in one option, but you can add the images in all the options which you have created. Now let us say you want the participant to ask to tell his or her name. So you of course won't be writing a multiple choice option for that, right? So what you will do is you want it to be a short answer text, right? Because the participant would have to type his or her name. So to do that, you click on this little drop down, and after clicking on it, it will show a bunch of options. The first one is a short answer one. It would automatically change. You don't have to delete any of previous options. It will straight away come as a short answer text. What happens in the short answer text is the participant would have to type his or her answer here. There is another one called paragraph or the long answer text. Here the participant can type quite a few lines, like 5 or 6 or 7 lines. And there is another one called the multiple choice one, which is the default one. Here the participant can only choose one option at a time. Now let us say you want a participant to choose more than one option at a time. So to do that, you click on this checkboxes one. Doing so, the participant would be able to choose more than one option. Now if you want the question to be a drop down one, you can choose the drop down button just below the checkboxes one. Now let us say you want your participant to upload the file or any file. So you click on this file upload button and it will ask you that some question like make sure you only share this on to people whom you trust. You click on continue and it will ask you a few questions like if you want to allow only specific file types. So then it will ask you that what kind of specific file types you want to allow, like document or drawing or presentation or image and etc. You can also choose the maximum number of files ranging from 1 to 10. The maximum file size can also be chosen ranging from 1 MB to 10 GB. Now if you want the question to be a linear scale, you can choose the linear scale button right below the file upload one. Now let us say you want the question to have a multiple choice grid, which is a grid. So there are rows and there are columns. To add a row, you click on the add row button. You can add as many rows as you want, and same way the columns can also be added as many as you want. Now if you want the grid to be a checkbox one, which means that the participant would be able to choose more than one option in a grid, in a row, you can do so here by clicking on this checkbox grid option. Date can also be added by choosing this date button. The month and the day and the year can be added. So the time can also be added. The time you can also add in the question. So that was how the different formats of a question are there. Now let us come to more settings of a question. Now let's say you want the participant should not be able to submit the form without attempting the question you just made. So to do that, you click on this slide bar, which is defaultly always off, but you can turn it on by clicking on it, and it will, when it's switched on, the participant won't be able to submit the form without attempting this question. Now you want to duplicate your question, let us say. You can click on this duplicate icon and the question would be duplicated with all its settings and the format and the text. Now if you want to delete the question, you click on this little delete icon or the trash can icon, so that the question would be deleted. Now let us say you want to add a question. So to do that you have to click on this plus icon inside a circle. After that a new question would be added with the default as the multiple choice and there would be no question. After that you can also import the questions. And how this works is you have previously created some forms. You can import the questions from those forms, but if you have not created any previous forms, this setting won't work. Now let us say you want to add a title and a description, another one. You can click on this text icon and that now it would appear as an untitled title and the description. The description is optional. So the title we can write anything and the description also. And note that this is not a question, this is just a title with a description. So to delete the section or the title, we click on this trash can icon and we can also undo it, and to duplicate we click on this duplicate icon. Now if you want to show the description you can click here, and if no you can deselect this one. After that the description won't be shown, only the title would be shown. Now let us say you want to add an image in the form, but this is not in one of any of the questions. This image would appear as only an image in the form. So you click on this gallery icon. After that it would ask you that how you want to insert the image by uploading the camera or the Google Drive or the URL. And in place of the image, let us say you want to add a video. The video can also be added, but there are only two options of adding a video. You can search the video on YouTube. You type the title of the video here and it would automatically come, and if you have the YouTube URL you can paste it here. Now if your form is very lengthy, you can make sections out of it. So the icon of the section making section is that there are two rectangles. So after that there would be sections created. This first one is section 1 out of 2 and the second one is 2 out of 2. The section can be shuffled or moved by clicking on these three dots, and it can also be merged with above, and so now these two sections are merged. We can undo and we can also duplicate the section by clicking on this duplicate button. Now these forms are duplicated. We can move the section and it will ask you that how you want to reorder your sections. So now let us say we want sample form to be the below the both two sections. So we can use the arrows to move the section. Then we click on save and the sections would be rearranged. Now we come to adding themes. So themes is basically the format of your form. So to customize the theme we click on this color palette icon, and it will ask us that the image for the header. We can choose the header image. There are plenty of header images already in the form. We can upload or we can search our photos. We can also choose the theme color, which is the background color. So we can choose any of these, and we can also add a custom color. move our mouse on the color palette and then we click on add. Then this new color will be added, and the background color can also be changed. It can be the light color, dark, very dark, or just white. The font style can also be changed by clicking here. The default font style is basic, and the second one is decorative. The format, the font only appears in the title and the question, not in the description or the options. The third one is formal, and this one looks like this, and the fourth one is a playful font, and it appears like this. So that was the customizing the theme. Now if we want to make this form a quiz, we want to add marks to the questions. We do so by clicking on this setting button here. We go into the quizzes tab and we click on make this a quiz slider bar. When we click on this, a few settings will also be activated automatically. It asks us that how we want to release the grade of the participant. There are only two options here. We can either release the grade immediately after each submission, and we can also review it manually, and then we give the responses to the participant on his or her email ID. So we can choose any one of these. If we choose the second one, the later after manual review one, it will automatically turn on email collection, which means that the participant would have to type his or her email in the form. And there is also another section which says that what the respondent can see. So these are three options here: the point values, the correct answers, and the missed questions. So when this is done, you click on save, and there are also many other settings except for the quizzes one. These are the general and the presentation one. The general one, there are only quite a few options here. So the first one is the collect email addresses. Now if you want to collect the email addresses, and you can click on here, you can click on this setting, and if you want the participant to get a copy of his or her responses, you can click on this response receipts button. It will ask you that should the participant get the copy of his or her responses if the respondent requests it, or should it always be there. So it's your choice. And there is another setting which says the requires sign in, and with the requires sign in tab, limit to one response. When you click this, the participant would only be able to submit the response only once, and when you click on this, the respondent will have to sign into Google to access the Google form. There is another one which is the what the respondents can do. So the first one is edit after submit. If you want the participant to edit his or her response after submission, you can turn this on. And there is also another one which is see summary charts and text responses. If you want the response to participant to see the previous responses and the correct answers, you can click here. Now the second one is the presentation one. There are the first one is the show progress bar. So what progress bar is, that how many questions does the participant has attempted and how many of them are left. The second one is shuffle question order. If you want to shuffle the question order, you can click here. And there is also another one which is show link to submit another response. If you want the participant to submit another response, you can click here. There is also writing a confirmation messages. You can type in anything like form accepted. When this is done, you click on save button. Now how to add marks in a question. You go to the question you want to add the marks. Please note that you have to manually add the marks. It would not be added automatically. So you go to the question in which you have to add the marks. You click on the bottom left corner of the question, the blue button which says answer key. When you click on this, it will ask you that how many points or marks you want to make the question of. So you can make it any number of points, and you click on done, and you also have to choose the correct answer. It can be more than one or it can just be one. After that you click on done, and you have to add the answers also. And after that, let's say you want to see the form from the other's point of view, you click on this little preview icon, the I button, and after that you would be able to see the form from the other's point of view. So the first section was this untitled section, and we have to type in our email. So we type that, and it will ask you that this is a required question. So you do that, and now it will ask you further. Then it would, and please note that the question, when you submit the previewed form, it will also count as a response. Now let us move on to the responses section. So there are two tabs in the form. One is the question and the second one is responses. So the responses, the participants who have submitted the form, their responses will show up here. But since this form is made just now, it doesn't have any responses. So let me show you another form which has responses in it. So friends, this is the tab, this is the form or the tab which has the responses. So it has three responses and it has three questions with three options. So there are three tabs in the responses. The first one is summary. You can see that what was the overall performance of the participants, and there you can see that what was the correct answer and how people did that. You can also see the answers from individual person. You go to the question and you can see each and every question's responses by the participants, and you can also see the individual also, like what the individual person has responded or what. So the first one is response 1 and response 2 and so on. So after that the responses is done, and now if you want to print the response, you click on this print icon and the response will be printed. And if you want to delete the response, you can click on this trash can icon. And now let us say you want a form to have a time period. So like let's say now it is 4:22 and you want the form to be deactivated at 5:22, which means the participant won't be able to submit another response after the form is deactivated. To do that, you have to log on to your form and you go to the responses tab and you click this slider bar off, not accepting responses. It will now come as that. Now if you want to get an email notification every time someone gives the response to your form, you can click here. And if you want to select the response destination, like where the responses are submitted, you can click on this select response destination. You can also unlink the form, which means the people who have the link to your form, it will be considered as an invalid link. You can also download the responses and you can print or delete all the responses. Now let us say you have to send your form to another people. You click on this purple button which says send, and it will ask you that how you want to send the form. There are five options with which you can send your form. The first one is the sending the form by email. To send by email, you have to write the person's email ID and the subject and the message, and then you have to click on send. The email would be sent to the person, and you can also share with the form with the link. You click here and then you click on copy. The link would be copy, and now you can paste it anywhere you like. The third one is you can embed the form into an HTML code. The width would be displayed here, and it can be edited, and so can be the height. The other two options are sharing from Facebook and Twitter. You can also share the form from via Facebook and Twitter. And now how to open your form. So to open your form, you have to go to the Google Drive of the account with which you have made the Google form. So you go to the Google Drive. You go to the drive. Now when you go to your Drive home, the account with which you have made the form, the in below the quick access tab, you will be able to see the form which you just have made. You double click on the form and it would open, and you can start editing right away where you left it. And the forms are auto saved, which means you don't have to manually save the form. So that was everything you needed to know about Google Forms. If you liked the video, please like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching.